indicative of future results. Investment advisory services offered through Wealth Quarterback LLC. Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, coming to you live, taking your questions on YouTube. We are live on YouTube. All you got to do is search for My Ugly Mug. Go to Josh Jelinski in the search box of youtube.com and get to type in any and every question you have. This is an open line edition of the program. There is no guest. The guest is you, the listener. So one of my all-time favorite shows is when we just take calls and we just shoot the breeze with those whom we love. That's you, our dearly beloved listeners. So there was so many things happening in the world of finance this week. Bitcoin, in and out, rejects Ron DeSantis' pitch to move to Florida. Ethereum is back now and nipping at Bitcoin's heels. I'll tell you why Ethereum may not be as promised. To me, Ethereum is, obviously there's potential there from an investment perspective, but it's very risky and it's centralized and there are gas fees. So to me, Ethereum is like a joke. But anyway, Bitcoin edges lower as advance in major cryptocurrencies slow. So there's a lot of interesting news, but I want to hear from you. Interesting article by the Intelligencer, is Bitcoin killing gold? And year-end tax moves that you must make now. So the infrastructure bill, so there are two key infrastructure bills. One is called the Build Back Better plan, which is, I think, the human infrastructure plan. Then the other one is the roads and bridges. Do you know how much, Ernesto, of the roads and bridges infrastructure bill actually went to roads and bridges?
Probably just a couple billion.
A fraction. I mean, it's a little more than that. But I want to say it was between 100 and 400 billion of the 1.5 to 1.75 trillion dollar bill. Many of the tax increases were neutered. Now, there are some key tax increases that we'll tell you about. In fact, on a future show, we're going to have Tom Wheelwright breaking down the entire tax plan. Basically, what you need to know is do not become a part of the procrastination nation. Many of you waited years to do estate planning. And here's the thing. If they pass the Build Back Broke plan in the dead of night, the last week of the year, they may add these revenue raisers that they've been talking about, and you may be screwed. You may be out of luck. So I'm telling everyone, redo your estate planning now. Don't just wait until next year. And you might say, well, I don't want to lose control. I don't want to do trusts. There's a lot of things you can do. You can do insurance. You could do LLC planning. Give us a call now. 800-321-0710. That's 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. We got a bunch of stories we want to talk about. First, the Great Resignation. Here's what to do with your 401k if you quit or change jobs. Many of you said, I quit. And you took your 401k with you, but your 401k is still at your employer. Did you have, Ernesto, you ever have an old 401k residing at your old employer?
I did.
And is it still at the old employer?
It is not.
So good. A key is to roll it over into an IRA that you can control. Now, before you do that, we do a due diligence call with anybody who calls us at 888-988-JOSH. Why is it important that you do a due diligence call? Because you don't know what benefits you're giving up on. You may be losing on fees, risks, taxes, etc. It may cost you more to roll that over than to keep it where it was. But if you're leaving your employer, it's a good time to dust off your 401k. Your 401k is the fundamental part of retiring for many Americans. The accounts are created by employers and allow employees to invest a pre-tax portion of their wages for retirement. But what if you want to leave your job that originally set up your 401k? According to CNBC, there are a few options. Now, cashing out should be a last resort, according to the November 9th CNBC article. The only time you really want to touch your 401k is to prevent bankruptcy or foreclosure, the article says. Pulling money out of your retirement accounts in most other situations prevents you from taking advantage of upswings in the market. Now, what about you? Do you have a 401k question? Do you have an IRA question? Whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. Now, the IRS announced higher federal income tax brackets and standard deductions for 2022 amid rising inflation. Now, the inflation-deflation debate is heating up on social media. What do you think, Ernesto? Do we have inflation or are we having disinflation? It looks like inflation, but Dr. Hunt says it's disinflationary. He makes a good point. What do you think, as a man on the street?
My mother just messaged us from the Philippines and asked how grocery shopping was going with me and all my brothers. So there's 5 boys, and every single one of us have complained about how expensive groceries are now.
And I think it's 20 to 30%, which was David Ranson's theory. David Ranson, you heard it on here first before anybody else, said 20 to 30% inflation. And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that in cars. I'm seeing that in bread. Folks, this is what happens when a government embraces modern monetary theory. Now you might say, we haven't embraced modern monetary theory. Modern monetary theory was embraced by President Trump in March of 2020. They rolled out the barrels of cash, $8 trillion. Now they're rolling out the barrels of cash with Biden. Here's the thing. This comes from somebody. Comes from the poor. Comes from the middle class. You know, who can afford $6 bread? Am I the only one that I'm seeing bread is like $5 to $6 now? Are you seeing that, Ernesto?
I am. Bread, milk.
I mean, a gallon of organic milk is like $8 now. You might say, I don't buy organic milk. I'm frugal. Well, good for you. It's probably a scam, organic anyway. But my wife likes it, and it keeps
Everyone
us
sees
married.
it at the gas pump, though. I mean, my brother fills up his truck. It's $100.
Well, the gas pump is due to shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, we had a country that was energy independent a year ago. And that's like a travesty, what's going on. But hey, people voted for this. So inflation. But here's the thing. As a broader, kind of to offend both parties, Democrats and Republicans have spent us down a river. This is ridiculous. Inflation is the result of this money printing because there's so much money in the system and small business is getting crushed. Anyway, so we'll take your calls on inflation at 6.2%. We have the producer price index rising. The CPI surged 6.2% from CNBC.com in October compared to the previous year, the biggest jump in more than 3 decades. This stuff isn't free. It comes off the backs of you and me. The standard deduction claimed by most taxpayers will also increase for 2022. It's $12,950 if you're single, $25,900 for married couples filing jointly. The IRS also made other inflation adjustments, such as changes to the alternative minimum tax, a parallel system for higher earners, and an increased estate tax exemption. Moreover, there is a boost for the Earned Income Tax Credit, a write-off for low to moderate income families, higher flexible spending account limits, among other changes. Workers may also save more in your 401k in 2022, according to last week's announcement. But there won't be a higher limit for IRAs, which is a shame because let's say your employer does not do a 401k. Sometimes the most you can do is a regular IRA. And that's a reminder. Have you taken advantage of the IRA? Have you done a Roth for this year? Marginal brackets now, if you make over $539,901, you're in the highest tax bracket. If you make between $215,000 and $539,000, you're in the second highest tax bracket. If you make between $170,000 and $215,000, you're in the third highest tax bracket. And it's not that if you're rich, you don't pay your fair share. These people are paying 37 cents on every dollar. And they're even paying more because the new infrastructure plan will tax small business owners who make more than a certain amount on the Medicare tax. The IRS announced higher federal income tax brackets and more, so we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, for the year-end financial review. Also, we're taking your calls on all hour, folks. Just try us and go in the YouTube chat box. We are youtube.com. Just search for, what's our youtube.com link? It's something long, right? It's like not, we got to get like a shorter link. If you go to youtube.com and just search for Josh Jelinski, you see the radio show live. We're talking about everything. We have Ms. Stu here at the end talking. Wait, thank you, Ms. Stu. You got a bunch of questions. We will answer them when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents save money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
We're here taking your calls at 800-321-0710 if you want the live questions. And give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH for the year-end financial review. You get to talk with us. And folks, if you want year-end help, the last week of the year, we're booked pretty solidly for the next 2 to 3 weeks. I have just 3 spots left, I think, in the next 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So if you want to get on my calendar, you got to call us now, 888-988-JOSH, and you get the free book, Tax-Free Wealth. We have a lovely woman here who I disagree with on college. I think college is a scam. Somebody said, we can hear you discussing address. Lol. What was I discussing? I don't remember. So anyway, at the end of the month, 55,000 CD at 2.7% coming due. Now I can only find a 0.01% rate. I'm almost 70 and want only safe, fixed ideas. This is the problem of keeping rates low artificially. It is screwing America's seniors who are living on low yields almost nothing. If you are like our beloved chat person on the Financial Quarterback Live show, type in a question. I'll address that. Well, what can you do if you want fixed rates? You can do fixed rate annuities. You'll probably get like 2 to 3% instead of 0.01%. But you might say, well, I've heard annuities have higher fees. Well, you can get ones that have no fees. I don't know if you know that. A fixed annuity, you tie your money up for 5 years or 7 years. You could take up to 10% out, and there is no internal charge. There's only a surrender charge. Now, so this low interest rate policy is hurting savers, predominantly in the middle class. So people say, I want to deal with income inequality. You know how you deal with inequality? Stop printing money. Because the smart people, like Elon Musk, they're going to go into debt to buy up assets. You who listen to some other guy on the radio who wants you to pay everything with cash, you're like, I have 400,000 in a CD earning 0.01. So Elon's becoming a billionaire, and you're lucky if you can make 2 cents. Somebody says, I do not want any more annuities. I have 2. Well, you got cash. You have bonds. You could maybe do a floating rate bond fund or ETF. You could do like bank rate loan funds where you're investing in floating rate mortgages. So if interest rates go up, that hedges you a little bit. You could look at investing in a portfolio of, let's say, 40% equity, 60% fixed income, fully liquid. We can manage those at Fidelity or Schwab. So there's a lot of options you could do. Some people are so conservative, they're making nothing. And if you just add in like 20% maybe equity exposure and have 80% fixed income, even though bonds are doing nothing, you can tactically manage bonds. We have a tactical portfolio where if we think there's risk in the bond market, we'll go to cash. But you can also do different bonds. So it might be very risky right now to own 30-year treasuries, but it may be less risky to own TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, which might give you a hedge against inflation. So we'll help you with all of that. Give us a call now, 888-988-JOSH for the what to do, because I'm getting taken advantage of by lower interest rate review. What was that face for, Ernesto? Ernesto gave a face. So, Ernesto, what are you thinking about today? What do you want to talk about? Anything good?
Well, I love the last 2 guests we spoke to. I thought, is it Dave Walker?
Yeah, we're having David Walker on in the next week, and it will be also pre-released on our YouTube. So go to youtube.com and hit subscribe. 1 CDs, it will at least buy me a gallon of milk each month. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. CDs stink. If you're giving your money to a bank to make 0.01%, I have a bridge to sell you. Now, this is the thing. Imagine you grew up in a world where there was a 5% CD. You can't make sense of a world like this, where we have low interest rates for as far as the eye can see. Now, I do believe interest rates will start to creep up, and that could be a problem. And our resident chief market strategist, Stan Harley, says rates may creep up. Michelle says, is it better to put my money in a 401k or in my IRA? My job offers a 401k with 4 funds. Imagine this. Most 401ks now offer a limited menu of funds. That's horrible. Now, I'm going to be talking a little softer because of my voice, so you might want to turn my mic up. But is it better to put my money in a 401k? Well, does your employer have a match? Number one, if your employer has a match, you want to take advantage of the match. Now, what I don't like about your 401k is there's 4 types of funds. So you need to reach out to your HR department and say, talk to the financial quarterback. If you or anyone you know have the ability to do the 888-988-JOSH, just call us at 888-988-JOSH and request a free 401k review. Also, we got a lot of people who say they want a question. We've given the question number. If you have a live question, call us at 800-321-0710. Now, when you have a 401k, you want to look at the options you have. Some of you have a 401k, what's called a self-directed option. Meaning if you have Fidelity, ask them if they have something called a brokerage link. Schwab has something called self-directed SDBA. We can help you with those. We own a fee. I'm CEO of Wealth Quarterback, a registered investment advisor where we can provide fee-based fiduciary services for your 401k without you even rolling it over to an IRA. Now, if your 401k doesn't do a match, do a regular IRA, unless you make under a certain amount and you can't deduct it, or over a certain amount and you can't deduct it. So you got a lot to talk about. We'd love to hear from you. Now, our beloved listener was talking about a gallon of milk. You can't even buy a gallon of milk with the interest off of your CDs anymore. Just think about that. And give us a call, 800-321-0710 if you have a question for me. Ernesto, do you have a question for us? Or what is the man on the street thinking about finances today?
I think the man on the street is just basically worried about how much everything costs. A lot of small business owners in my neighborhood, which is Monmouth County, complaining about how hard it is just to keep their prices the same in their restaurants.
And many of them are raising their prices. I mean, I went to some restaurant in Monmouth County, got one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life. It was like a $40 burger. I'm like, give me a break. So a lot of people are just saying, hey, I'm gonna buy from Costco that ground beef and make my burger myself. See, what's happening here is a great resignation. What you're seeing is big businesses getting bigger and bigger. And you know what's interesting? There's a lot of angst, and people are saying, people are saying, I'm mad at the rich, tax them more, when they don't realize the problem isn't so much the rich, it's the Fed policy of keeping money so low and so cheap, interest rates being artificially low, and the government spending more money, printing more money. So more money's in circulation. So if you have less money, you're feeling even poorer than before because you can't even buy a half a gallon of milk for less than, $4. Now, according to Robert Exley Jr. of CNBC.com, investing in your 401k is a fundamental part of retiring for many investors. But you got to be careful. Your 401k is your biggest investment for many of you. But most of you spend more time planning vacation than watching your 401k. Call us now for the free 401k review at 888-988-JOSH, straight out for year end, and we will help you guide through what to do with your largest asset. Folks, we have a live open line right now at 800-321-0710. So try me. Ask any question you have. We are not like the other canned shows that are not preparing you for the future. Too many radio hosts. You know, if you think about this, the average financial radio talker is about 20 years older than me, maybe 25 years older. And they're giving you grandma's advice. And you might say, I am a grandma. I find that disrespectful. I don't mean it by that. What I mean is the world of investing is vastly different. The future, where there's cryptocurrencies, where there's Bitcoin, and although they are fraught with risk, and we are in no wise recommending you buy or sell cryptos, our world, the next 10, 20 years, is going to be vastly different because there is a rampant distrust in institutions. Take public education. There's something like 4 million people who've completely opted out of the system with homeschooling, which was a fringe movement. Now there's like 4 million people saying, I'm out of the public education system. They're just opting out completely. They're homeschooling and home educating their own kids. And those kids are excelling. They're winning the national spelling bees. They're getting full rides to Harvard. So it's going to be a completely different world. Same thing with money. People are opting out of the economic system. People are opting out of the political system. People are opting out of the monetary system with Bitcoin. Now, we can't even fathom this. CD rates at 0.01%. And that's why we're here for you, to educate you on the many changes in the world. Next up, we have John from Brooklyn. Can he roll over an IRA into a Roth? And then Vito. When we return, this is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, talking about 403Bs and Roths when we return with John and Vito. 800-321-0710. Don't touch that dial.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH.
Okay, we're back with John and then Vito calling us on our listener call-in line. Go ahead, John, you're on.
Good morning, Josh. Your opinion as a financial advisor. I'm 66 years old. I have roughly $500,000 in an IRA, and
okay. Next, go ahead, Vito.
Hi, Josh. I'm 80 years old. I have a 403B that has an MRG every year, minimum required withdrawal, and I have a Roth with about 150K in it. Can I roll over my minimum required withdrawal after the taxes are removed directly into the Roth?
No, you cannot take an RMD and put it into a Roth unless you have other employment and other wages. So the first question is, do you have other wages?
No.
Now, what you can do is you can take double the RMD. So what's your RMD approximately?
About 25K.
So you can take 25K. You can't take the first 25K and Roth it, because that's your RMD. You can take any money above the RMD and do a Roth conversion on that amount. And if you need help with that, we're here for you at 888-988-JOSH. The other thing you could look at doing is don't pay taxes twice on money you're not spending. So if you have 25 grand in an RMD and you don't need it, which I'm surmising you don't need the income, what you could do is you could take that 25K and you could buy a life insurance policy on your children or grandchildren. That money will grow tax-free, pass tax-free. That's one thing that's sort of like a Roth. The other thing you could do is buy no dividend stocks. And we could show you a list of non-dividend paying stocks. Now you might go, Why do I want to buy non-dividend paying stocks? Because then they won't kick off dividends, interest, and capital gains on money you're not spending. And then if you pass 20 years from now at 100, hopefully you live till that long, that money will go capital gains tax free to them. So it's like a Roth. Wow. So I can help you navigate through that. A lot of people, 80, 75, they go, I'm too old for this. But now is the time you want to plan, because things can be way more tax efficient, or you can leave your heirs with a big tax bill. The choice is up to you. Any other follow-up questions on that, Vito?
Yes. Thank you for that information. I have an apartment. I live in a house that I own, and there's an apartment there that's empty. And if I were to rent that, would that be an income like as though I were working?
No, you mean, can it be wages for you to do a Roth?
Yes.
You would have to create a real estate LLC, pay yourself a salary off of the wages. I mean, you could technically do it. You just got to go through some hoops.
Yeah, yes.
But we can help you with that. I mean, that's not a big deal. How much do you make on rental property?
Very little. Perhaps I would say about 12 to 15K a year.
Okay. Well, what you could do is you could create Vito's LLC. Now, we would do this in concert with your accountant. We're not giving tax or legal advice. But what you could do is create an LLC. The LLC would be a real estate LLC. You would then pay yourself W-2 wages. Now, I don't... Oh. And so you would pay yourself, let's say, a W-2 of $7,000 a year after expenses. And then you'd be able to put $7,000 in a Roth.
Oh, okay.
So that is something you could do, provided your accountant said it was okay. I'm not an accountant, but that's the beauty of our financial quarterback process. We are macro managers for our clients. We're not just merely financial advisors who tell you where to put your money, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. We will work with your accountants, your attorneys, to coordinate and integrate your whole financial life. So when was the last time, Vito, your accountant, your attorney, your real estate professional, and your financial advisor met and said, what's best for Vito?
There was no last time. I did everything kind of myself. My accountant just told me my tax bracket.
Okay.
No, there is no. Yeah, I'm due for a review.
Okay, well, we'd love to meet with you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We do phone calls, we do Zoom meetings, and we do in-persons. So just call us whenever you can, okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
And our number again, 888-988-JOSH. And if you schedule today, you get the free book by special guest author Tom Wheelwright, who he will be on either tomorrow or next week talking about year-end tax reviews. You do not want to miss that interview. And folks, if you miss an episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for youtube.com and go on youtube.com and just type in Jelinski. And you can stream and subscribe. And then we got all these great listeners. So thank you, Vito. Any other questions?
No, thank you. I got the number. Thank you, Josh.
Wonderful. Actually, don't search for Jelinski. I'm searching for Jelinski, and there's some interesting, person. They probably ripped off my last name. No, some video gamer. Jala plays games, but you have to search for The Financial Quarterback on YouTube. Also, Spotify and the iHeartRadio app. So next up, we got John. John is back. Hopefully you don't hang up next time, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, your advice as a financial advisor. I have $500,000 in $500,000 in an IRA and $100,000 in a mutual fund, a non-IRA. A little cash on hand, a rainy day fund. Now, at 66 years old, if I start putting $10,000 a year, roll it over into a Roth, I hear it's going to cost me about $1,500. So I can't take it out of the non-IRA because mutual fund, I'll get hit with taxes on that. Is it better at this age, Josh, to just leave it in till I'm 72 and then just take the 3% rule? That should hold me to 25 years or so into my 90s. Is it better like that and sometimes not rolling it into a Roth?
Sometimes it isn't best to do a Roth. Sometimes it is not best to do a Roth. I will work through with you some of the numbers. Have you ever done an analysis of the total tax liability that you will pay over your lifetime if you leave it within an IRA?
No.
We will do that for you. So think of it as you have two choices. What is it, Robert Frost poem? There's two ways diverged in the yellow wood or something like that. So there's two ways you could do. Number one, you could do nothing. Let your tax deferred money grow unfettered by taxes till you're 72. Then you're going to get slammed with taxes. It's not merely 3%, it's 3.8%, then 4.1, then 4.3. So every year you grow and your account grows and you age, you're going to have to take more and more out and pay taxes like this guy Vito who just called. So we will calculate what the taxes will be cumulatively over your life expectancy from 72 to, let's say, 90 or 95, however long you want us to simulate. So think of this as a flight simulator for your money. So road one, do nothing. Road two, what if we took a little bit out each year and Rothed it? We'll go into that. Then we'll go into road three, which might be a combination of Roth. Road four might be a total Roth conversion. So you can see the consequences of things before you do it. We have a very powerful wealth simulator, which if you call us at 888-988-JOSH, I will take you on a tour of the wealth simulation tool for free. Okay? Any other questions?
Where do I get the money to go into a Roth? I'm not that flush with cash. So where would the money come to pay for the Roth? If it's going to cost me $1,500 on every $10,000.
Purpose of we're not giving any financial advice over the airwaves. That would be best suited for a meeting. And I'd like to meet with you at 888-988-JOSH. You mean where are you going to get the taxes on the Roth conversion? You would get taxes on the Roth conversion from outside of an IRA. Do you have cash earning nothing at the bank?
No, where am I going to get the money when I have to pay year end for the money I'm going to move to a Roth IRA? I'm going to have to take money out of an IRA and pay tax on that. And the tax on that
I
might
wouldn't
be
advise
about
that. I wouldn't recommend that. So, I mean it.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. If I take money out of an IRA to move into a Roth, I'm going to have to pay tax on that money I take out. Where does that money come from? Do you know what I mean? On $40,000, that's $6,000 that I have to pay.
You never want to pay for tax on a Roth conversion from an IRA. You want to pay tax on a Roth conversion from an outside IRA source. Cash at the bank, cash at a brokerage account, a money market. To pay for taxes on a Roth conversion from an IRA is sort of not a wise idea. Why?
I know that.
Because you're paying like double tax to avoid tax. It's kind of dumb.
I understand what I'm saying.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes,
so
it does.
So if you have $40,000 that you're Rothing and your tax bill is $10,000, you want to take that $10,000 not from the IRA, but from a bank account earning 0.01%. Now, the beauty of the Roth is the money grows tax-free and can be pulled out tax-free. Now, mind you, I'm not an advocate. I want to be very clear. I want no one to do a Roth because they hear it on the radio every single week that we talk about Roths. To go out and to do a Roth because I say so or Ed Slott, there is no substitute for a financial review where you have to put pencil to paper and do the math with an advisor. And we could do that math for you at no charge, 888-988-JOSH, and then we'll work with your CPA and all that stuff if you need to. Okay, so we'll be back after these messages with more calls at 800-321-0710. And if you want the no obligation Roth review, call us 888-988-JOSH, and you get the free book, Tax-Free Wealth, 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have Shanna, who wants to know about alternative investments to CDs for her cash. And John, did I answer your question, or do you have another follow-up? Okay, it's gone. We'll be back after these messages. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, and we got Shanna. You're on. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Josh. Thank you. I enjoy your program. Now, in these times when you're looking to just park some cash for safety, emergency money that you don't intend to use, CDs don't, as you mentioned before, yield anything. What's your suggestion?
Well, number one, I've been talking about this for years. Do you have any cash value life insurance? Sometimes they have a 3 to 4% cash account that you could take advantage of, which is lower
than that.
2 to 3% effective next year. There's a new rule which will actually negatively affect life insurance, lowering some of the guaranteed rates, but you can still get guaranteed rates of, I'd say, between 2 and 3.75 on the cash value within a life insurance policy, and cash value in a life insurance policy is fully liquid. You have to be insurable, but if you're uninsurable, you could always buy that policy on your children or grandchildren. That is a great place for cash. And another reason why people who say cash value life insurance is a bad idea are dumb. There are numerous people on the radio over the years who've said, oh, don't do it. And now you're stuck at 0.01% because you've listened to those people. Now, I think there are different monies for different purposes. Does that make sense? So
totally.
If you have money markets, cash value in a life insurance is a great alternative to a money market. Now, when you compare it to a CD or money market bank account, it's a good alternative. Now, people then who compare it to the stock market, of course you're going to make more money in stocks over the long haul. But not everybody wants to put all of their money in the stock market at record highs right now.
Correct.
So you could look into cash value insurance. You could look into fixed annuities. You could look into fixed indexed annuities, not variable, where variable has the risk of the market and higher fees. But you could get no fee annuities where you'd only pay a fee if you cancel prematurely. You're going to get, probably 2 to 3% instead of the 0 to 1% you're getting at the bank. Obviously, you have to read, make sure you understand the terms and conditions of the annuity. It's one of the reasons why Bitcoin's on the rise. People are like, hey, I'm not making anything on my cash. I might as well just put it over here in this new cryptocurrency. So it's not really new. It's been around since 2009, but this is the point. So there are a lot of alternatives for cash. Then you could look at certain bonds. You could look at certain bond ETFs and bond funds. You could look at municipal bonds. Although some have risk, like if you're in a bond ETF and interest rates go up, that bond ETF may go down. Any other questions on that? This is a great question.
No, but that's a very good answer. I appreciate it. I'll definitely look into it and maybe give you a call.
Sure, and we would love to meet with you. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH for the what to do with my bank accounts earning zero review. Any other follow-up questions, Shanna?
That's very good. No, I appreciate it. It was a concise answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you basically have banks, insurance companies, and bonds. That's about all you have right now. And the Fed, in some essence, is propping up the stock market by keeping rates so low, which is exacerbating income inequality. The answer to income inequality is to not tax the rich. That's going to make everyone poor. It's to stop low interest rate policy. It's to let money not be cheap and flowing, because then those who take advantage of it are the smart ones who take on debt to buy assets that produce income. So who would have thought 20 years ago, Ernesto, that the way to wealth was to hawk yourself? Like that was like the province of late night infomercials, no money down. But that's really what the rich do. They take out big debts and they buy assets, and the assets produce an income and larger write-offs. So we're actually subsidizing people like Elon Musk, who just sold a massive amount of Tesla, by the way. What does that mean for Tesla stock? I'll give you my opinion later. But first, we have Frank, who has advice on the withdrawal from an IRA. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, it's extraordinary, Josh. It's a delight to be able to speak to you. I've listened to you on the radio for so long.
Thank you.
I have a number of IRAs, normal IRAs, which I understand are fungible, so I could take all my minimum withdrawal for the year from one account and not touch the others. But I have as well two thrift savings plans, a TSP, one from the civilian government, one from the military. And I'm being told that I must take a minimum withdrawal from each of those two accounts, that taking money from a regular bank doesn't count, and I would much prefer to leave my money in the TSP because it has a component that's invested in the market and it pays 5% instead of 0.nothing.
What pays 5%, though? The G fund right now on the TSP is earning like next to nothing.
No, I don't know. I have sufficient different kinds of assets in the TSP.
You mean like you just like your investment? The TSP has the G, the F, the C, the S, and the I fund. If you have a TSP, call us 888-988-JOSH. Yeah, you have to keep, if you have an RMD, you can't aggregate from your TSP. It's not treated the same as the IRA. So the tip might be to consider rolling the TSP to a no-load index fund like the TSP. What I mean is the C fund is nothing more than the common stock index fund. You can buy an S&P index fund with a relatively low fee. I'm looking at the fee, the expense ratio of the TSP C fund is 0.05. You can get an SPY ETF for like 0.03 or 0.02. So you can actually get it cheaper now. Used to be that the TSP was much cheaper. So you could roll that TSP to an IRA for the purpose of aggregating all of your IRAs. Now, if you did that this year, you can aggregate your IRAs. Aggregation is if you have 4 IRAs, you can take all of your RMDs from one of the IRAs. You can add them up. But you cannot aggregate when you have different types of accounts. For example, IRAs and TSPs. And that's what your question was talking about. And Frank, we'd love to talk to you. Give us a call at 888-988-JOSH. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll be back with Joe with a debt ceiling question. When we return, what's going to happen with the debt ceiling? This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Okay, we're back. We got a lively debate going on the YouTube.com. We have a lot to address on the YouTube. We have Mark. I have all my retirement savings in 403Bs and IRAs. I am selling my primary and secondary home and was thinking of buying a max-funded index universal life. Well, I'm not crazy about index universal life because you can have a rising cost of insurance. If you want to put your money in life insurance, I would look at policies that do not have rising costs. So call us at 888-988-JOSH and we can help you make sure if that's right for you. 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have, I love doing the live show with all the callers. Next up, we have Joe with a question on the debt ceiling. And then we'll get to all of our YouTube questions in a minute. Be sure to go to youtube.com, search for The Financial Quarterback. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Josh. First of all, God bless you and yours. As I've spoken to you in the past, it's good to hear your voice. Three quick questions. One, is there going to be a cap with the debt ceiling? Because, the bottom line is with Biden's plan, it's a potential of $13 trillion at this point. And it's going to end up like post-war Germany, printing money to cover the debt, and the money will be worthless. Another thing is, I'm hearing all this on TV, on the radio, and on TV, courtesy of Marconi with the radio. And the bottom line is about this stimulus package, etc., and this reconstruction. I don't hear any money going to American veterans. 50%, half of the homeless men and women, and there shouldn't be one in the richest country in the world. 50%, half of the homeless are American veterans, God help them. And each and every year, 13,000 American veterans suicides, God forgive them. Now, the bottom line is there going to be any direct money to help American veterans with the trillions of dollars that Biden's plan is selling? Because if American veterans, we ever needed help now, because we've helped this country, I do what I can, live the words of Christ and Matthew, American Mongrel and myself, we go out and we feed American veterans, shut-ins, and others. But the bottom line is, if we ever needed the help, we need it now. And I don't hear anything towards helping American veterans with this multi-trillion-dollar plan.
Yeah, I don't hear that either. But I do think we have to, there's always a good cause for money to go. We have to say enough is enough with the spending. Meaning, if you're a veteran, there's the VA. You have, right now, veterans are very well taken care of. They have free burial. They have the VA homes. They have veterans assistance programs. So I don't know, obviously, I'm all for helping veterans. But I do think that's what happens, though. And that's why the government spends trillions of dollars. Everybody says, I have this program. Now I'm looking at the text of the House bill, and I see, Indian Affairs is getting a lot of money. Transportation is getting some money. I think Amtrak is getting a bunch of money. Who really goes on Amtrak that much anymore? Yes, if you commute, but the government is sort of subsidizing that. The Northeast Corridor planning. There's a lot of people going, mass transit, railway, highway construction, high-speed train noise emissions. I'm looking. I don't see any veterans stuff. So I thank you that you help the homeless. We need to help them. But I'm all for, our government is spending way too much money. And here's the import to financial planning. With record amounts of spending, the government is going to cause two things. One, the dollar will be worth less. So you will need a financial plan that will protect you from inflation. And two, taxes will go up eventually, because how are we going to pay for all this? So if you have an IRA, a 401k, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages, 888-988-JOSH. If you want the free review and you get the book Tax-Free Wealth when you schedule and keep your no-obligation review, 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH for the free review.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. Number 1 for music, radio, and podcasts.
He's back on New York radio. John Batchelor, weeknights from 9 till midnight on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
An iHeart radio station.
It's 57 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Paul DeCastro. A man is in custody and accused of raping a woman in Central Park Thursday morning. Police say they arrested 25-year-old homeless man Paulie Velez overnight. He allegedly strangled the 27-year-old woman until she passed out and then sexually assaulted her. The victim was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Velez faces several charges, including rape, robbery, assault, and strangulation. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon is expected to turn himself in on Monday after being indicted by a federal grand jury for contempt of Congress.
Bannon refused to honor a subpoena to testify before the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. He also refused to turn over documents to the committee. The House cited Bannon for contempt, and the matter was referred to the Justice Department. A federal grand jury handed down the indictment. Attorney General Merrick Garland put out a statement saying the Justice Department is committed to the rule of law. I'm Brian Shook.
Well, Macy's is taking its new Thanksgiving Day parade balloons out for a test run this morning.
Need a twist? Scientists by Netflix, Grogu, better known as Baby Yoda, Ronald McDonald, and Pikachu and Eevee will undergo a test flight in the parking lot of Citi Field. Macy's skilled flight management team, along with a few hundred handlers, will take the balloons out for an outdoor trial run to get first-hand experience before the parade. The parade kicks off November 25th at 9 a.m. Eastern on NBC. I'm Lisa G., WOR News.
Well, former Raiders coach John Gruden is suing the NFL and its commissioner Roger Goodell. Gruden claims that a malicious and orchestrated campaign was used to destroy his career by leaking some of his old emails.
The Wall Street Journal reported October 8th that in one Gruden email, he used a racist term to describe NFL Union Chief DeMaurice Smith. 2 days later,
all I can say is I'm not a racist. I can't tell you how sick I am. I apologize again to D. Smith.
In the fourth year of a 10-year, $100 million contract, Gruden resigned. His attorney says the defendants selectively leaked the emails to harm Gruden's reputation and force him out of his job. The NFL denies it. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
And in WOR sports on the local scene, the Knicks lost to the Hornets, the Nets over the Pelicans. Coming up tomorrow, the 2-6 Jets are home for the 5-3 Bills.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. A cold front will trigger showers today, maybe in a few strong thunderstorms with a high near 60. Clearing will follow behind the front overnight with a low down to 38. Cooler weather for Sunday, partly cloudy early, then clouds will move in later in the afternoon with a high of 47. And for Monday, a mix of clouds and sunshine with a high in the upper 40s. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next news at 11, we're breaking news at 1. Start your day with Len Berman and Michael Riedel in the morning, 6 till 10 weekdays. I'm Paul DeCastro on 710 WOR, an NBC News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Okay, we have many of you calling us at 800-321-0710. This is an open line edition of the program. It's one of the most favorite programs that I do when we just take nothing but listener calls. We have a fight breaking out in YouTube land. I am not responsible for any comments of anyone on YouTube, but some interesting debate going on in the YouTube chat box. If you have a question for me in YouTube land, type it in the chat box. We had a lot of people saying, God bless our veterans. But that's the thing. We have to make hard choices. You know, will we spend our kids and grandkids into oblivion? Meaning, think about this. Medicare, Medicaid, veterans, and defense. I think that comprises 70% of our budget. So those are all good things that we all would agree are pretty necessary for a social safety net. We have to find a way to lower those. We have this spending that's mandatory and fixed. And so we have to find things to cut that some people will find objectionable. Now, I'm looking at this bill and I don't even see that. That's why we shouldn't have this bill. The infrastructure bill, why can't, if everybody wants to go on Amtrak, why can't Amtrak be a private company? We award contracts to people like Elon Musk and others to invent things that are not reliant on the government. And maybe we give some type of tax breaks. Hey, that's what we did with Tesla. Tesla exists because of tax breaks. Solar exists because of tax breaks. But then they always say, well, let's not give tax breaks for the wealthy. Well, it's better to get a tax break than a handout. So, okay, there's a lot going on here. Life insurance is tax-free, but heard if you die of COVID, no insurance company will pay if you didn't get the vax. No, that's not true. If you die of COVID, you will get life insurance. Now, if you lied about something, there's a 2-year contestability clause, so maybe somebody lied about getting COVID and then they died of complications. Mark talks about max-funded IUL with cash value insurance. Mark, I would call me on that, 888-988-JOSH. We will review it. You do not want to buy insurance from just any old life insurance broker. We have a life insurance sales service where we will make sure that you're getting the best deal for your money. Now we have people, God blessing the vets. Yes, I bless the vets too. Somebody's bowing out of the chat. Next up, we go to Jerry, donating RMDs to charity. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yes, I spoke to you about 6 months ago, and my question was on donating my the RMD that I'll be receiving from the city.
Did we
at
meet
the end
personally, or did you call me on the radio?
I called. Yeah, I called on the radio.
Okay.
And
well, that may be your first problem. You know, we get people. I'm having fun with you, but we get people who call me on the radio, and they're trying to piece together some plan. There's no substitute for calling me directly at 888-988-JOSH. So I offer that to you today as well as last time. But go ahead.
All right. So you told me I could, and I heard about it on the news, that you could donate your RMD, and then you would get and then you would not even get the 1099. But I called the city of New York, 6 months ago, and they told me yes, they would. I would be able to do that. But then I called a couple of days ago, and the agent told me, no, you cannot donate the RMD. You could donate some other money from your deferred compensation plan or your IRA, but not the RMD. So, so now I have two people from the city telling me two different stories. I don't know if what you say about that. And then after my Vanguard account, and I said, what if I transfer my deferred compensation plan over to Vanguard? And they said, yes. Well, send us the money, and you will receive a 1099, but the 1099 will be made out to my name, and then you'll get the check, which will be payable to the charity that I tell them. And then after I get the check...
No, you're doing it all wrong. Yeah. You're doing it all wrong, partly because you're going alone, you're trusting city workers, and you're going to a low-budget financial institution. You need an independent financial planner who's a fiduciary to help you through this. It's a very easy solution. What you want to be done can be done, but you seem like you want to be a do-it-yourselfer, but that might be the problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I am a do-it-yourself. I've always done my own
advice
taxes,
would be don't be cheap. Hire somebody to help you. That's my advice.
Sure.
You're trying to do it. You're being too cheap and you're going to screw yourself. You're getting yourself with a 1099. That is totally not what I was suggesting. That is totally not what I was recommending when we talked 6 months ago. Does that make sense?
They shouldn't send me the 1099. Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at all. You're doing it completely wrong.
Okay.
You need to do what's called a QCD, a Qualified Charitable Distribution. It's very easy to be done, but because you're dealing with the city and a no-load institution. Now, by the way, I believe in no-load funds. I believe in no-load ETFs and index funds with no commissions. But you should have a fee-based fiduciary to help you through what you're going through. Does that make sense?
Yes. But what about and another thing you told me, if I had done it the way Vanguard told me, they told me you'd get the check made out to the charity.
Yes.
Then you have to go to a tax advisor. And I'm saying, well, what if it turns out that it's not a charity that's qualified?
Well, you need to have the money go directly to the charity. It'll be named. It's called the QCD, and you should not be getting a 1099. So I'd be happy to help you through it.
But
888-988 Josh.
Could it be a charity that's not a charity that's
No, it needs to be a reputable, qualified 501c3. Why would you not give money to a qualified 501c3?
Okay. Yeah, well, because this charity, he said he wasn't, but he hasn't filed for that, paid it, do the tax return based on that in the last few years because he didn't get enough charities.
Well, then you're not going to get the write-off or the deduction.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He'll pay the tax on it. But would that be allowed if he's willing to pay whatever he has to pay?
I don't know. That seems like you're getting into a lot of things that are unnecessary.
Yeah. I'm trying to donate the money to them because they do good work.
The
they
thing
always
is,
help me.
you have a deferred comp or some savings plan with the city. That should be rolled over to an IRA at an institution. So we use Fidelity or Schwab. Then Fidelity or Schwab will send you the QCD. We can help you with that. It's very simple. I don't know why it's. I think.
All right, that's where I have all the paperwork to do that. But you don't think I should stay there with the city? I should move it over to
I don't know. I have to. I have to meet with you. I can't give you. You're looking for a free review over the air, and I love your listening. I love your calls, but it's no substitute for an individual review. Okay.
All right.
Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. I would love to meet with you. I think you're you're kind of moving up. You're kind of going down the wrong path. Number one, a QCD is very easy if you have an IRA. Now, probably because you're dealing with the city's deferred comp plans, TDAs. We deal with many of our listeners come to us with a TDA, deferred comp. Those are great ways to grow your money, but sometimes these specialized plans for New York State, New York City, you can't do some of these creative things, or you're reliant on city workers. And you all know how that goes. You call, you're waiting on hold for hours to get an answer. And no disrespect to city workers. We have a ton of city and state workers that do the best job they can. And especially a lot of pressures now due to COVID and work from home. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and we will help you set up your qualified charitable distribution. Now, with a qualified charitable distribution, you are not getting a 1099. The money is going direct to the charity. Why is that important? Because then that income from the required minimum distribution is not counted on your tax return. So that way your Medicare tax doesn't go up. So your Medicare premiums don't go up. There's a reason why the QCD is better than getting a 1099 and writing the check. Call us at 888-988-JOSH and I'll help you with that. Folks, by the way, we have a year-end financial review that we're offering a 45-minute financial game plan at no charge where you get to ask me any question you have. Next up, we have Rob and then Chris. Rob wants to know about granddaughter, and Chris wants to know about moving money to a Roth. Go ahead, Rob.
Good morning. Appreciate you greatly, Josh. My granddaughter is inheriting the money, of which I'm the custodian for. So my question is, where she'll need it in about 5 years. So where is like a safe place to park that money so she'll have it for college when she needs it? And being that I am the custodian, who's responsible for the taxes on it as the money hopefully grows?
Well, number one, you could do a 529 where there will be no taxes on the growth if it's specifically for college. Number two, you could look at an UTMA account, Uniform Transfers to Minors Act, where there will be taxes, but that can eventually be transferred to her. So when it's her money, she could pay taxes on it. You could also look at parking it in a cash value life insurance policy. The benefit of that is that money is not a part of the FAFSA, the Federal Application for Federal Student Aid. So if you're giving money to a granddaughter for the purpose of college, you want to make sure that money doesn't get counted against her for the purpose of awarding her financial aid. Does that make sense, Rob?
Oh, totally.
So those are three things you could look at. Yeah. Number one, a 529. Number two, an UTMA. I discourage the UTMA because the UTMA could actually hurt her for financial aid. And number three, cash value insurance. That could help her for getting aid as well. You could also just have money in an account for her in your name. And if you didn't want to pay any taxes, you could put it in tax-free municipal bonds, or you could put it in stock that does not pay a dividend. That way you're not paying taxes on money you're not spending, and then you just gift the shares of stock to her when she needs it, but the money's sort of out of her name. So if you're a grandparent, that money's not going to count against her for federal aid. And if you or any of our listeners need help giving money to kids or grandkids and want to make sure it's the most tax-efficient way and the best way to pay for college and the best way to get financial aid, call us for the free gifting review. A lot of year-end gifts. People are making year-end gifts for Hanukkah, for Christmas. Now is the time to call us, 888-988-JOSH, for the free review. Any other questions?
You mentioned, is that the same as UGMA?
Yeah, it depends on the state. It's pretty much the same way it works. I do not recommend a UGMA or a UTMA, by the way, for what you're trying to do, because it could hurt them from getting financial aid. But a lot of people do it. Right. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
Yeah. And I don't want to roll the whole thing into a 529, just in case she doesn't go to school, then she has to pay a penalty.
Yeah, I don't even do a 529 for my kids. You may be surprised with that. You
probably do insurance, right?
I have 7
kids.
You
do insurance.
I do Roths and I do insurance for my children. Roths and cash value insurance. Because the Roths and the insurance does not count against them for financial aid. The Roths is for the risky money. The insurance is for the more conservative money. So we could work through what I do with my kids and be happy to share that with you. Okay?
Give you a call. Thank you so much. I'll call the office.
Thank you.
I'll be
and
able
the
to meet
office
with you.
mates are standing by live at 888-988-JOSH to schedule your no-obligation review. So call them now, 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 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 It's always on your mind. Retirement. whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Okay, we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, and we have next caller. We got Chris moving money to a Roth. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Josh. I had a call a little while ago. He talked about he wanted to move money to a Roth. He has no income. He's retired, as I am. So he had an idea to rent some space, I guess, in a property he owns, create an LLC himself, and use that rental income, get himself a W-2, use that fund the Roth. My question is, if I do that, just call myself a financial, analyst, move some money, my cash fund, to my Roth without paying any tax.
Yeah, here's the thing. With any of these jobs, well, number one, you want to check with your accountant. Number two, there's active participation rules. So you're not really just creating a business and not doing anything. You have to have a legitimate business. I talk about it in my book, The Retirement Reality Check. For example, you could be a hobbyist and a whittler. And we talk about a couple that was a client of ours, and we recommend that he would create an LLC for some of his hobbies. Now, it can't just be a hobby. So he had to take his hobby and make it a little bit of a business. So now he sells his whittling products and he restores antiques. He now goes all around the country and he sells them. Or he sells them on Etsy. Or if you're in real estate, you have to have active participation. There are a bunch of rules. You have to have so many hours in a craft in order to take certain losses and or to have income. So I'm not recommending that anyone do this lightly. You want to check with your accountant. I'm not an accountant, but go ahead. I don't understand your question. So you want to become a financial analyst. So is anyone hiring you to be a financial analyst? Do you have any clients? Are you actively participating in any business? Are you holding yourself out? Do you have licenses? You can't just say I'm a financial analyst. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what I was thinking of doing, and just being able to have a large cash fund, which I would love to move into my Roth, and I was just...
Now, theoretically, you could do that. Let's say you get a part-time job, working for a financial company, get paid $10,000 a year, then you could sock away $7,000 in a Roth. No, there are ways... And maybe we could strategize ways where you could actively have a business. Call us at 888-988-JOSH. You could also do a Roth solo 401k where you could sock away $26,000 a year if you're over 50, tax-free. And that could be a repositioning of your cash. So I think you're in the right church. You may be in the wrong pew, and that's where we can help you. I think you're on the right track. You just got to be careful. That's all.
Yeah, I just, when he suggested what he wanted to do, you advised him. I thought it was very interesting, and something I could be interested in.
We're not giving advice. When we say advise, I'm giving tips, financial knowledge, education. But as it relates to you, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and we can certainly strategize ways where you can maybe do a Roth with all that cash, okay?
Okay, thanks very much.
Would love to talk to you. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. We are also taking your calls all hour. These are my favorite shows where I get to talk to you, the listener, live, unscripted, uncensored. We have all these comments on YouTube. And I want to be clear here. If you're not used to YouTube, the people can get sort of heated, debating. We had Lacey Hunt. Folks, you want to search for the Lacey Hunt, Josh Jelinski interview. We have over 8,000 viewers on that. It's getting a lot of airplay. But then all these people are like rebuking me. They were nasty to me. Oh, you stink. Go home. And I'm the host. They're like, oh, you talk too much. Well, it's my darn show. So apparently YouTube is very different than Radioland and podcasting and Spotify and iHeart. So you got to be careful. You know, it's sort of an untamed air. Mark from YouTube writes this question. My employer doesn't have any match for my 403B. Boo-hoo. Most 403Bs don't match. I contribute the max every year. Should I consider a better way to save for retirement? You betcha. Maybe you could look at a Roth 403B. Maybe you could look at a Roth IRA. Maybe you could look at cash value insurance. All those things might be better than a 403B. And if your employer will be open to it, I would be happy to meet them and show them Roth 403B options, Roth 401k options. We've helped many small businesses, mid-sized businesses, large businesses who called us. We manage millions in 401ks and retirement plans from companies who said, you know what, Josh, I'm not getting good service. You know what? We're not getting good tax structures. We weren't getting the Roth 401k. We weren't getting individual planning. We weren't getting individual guidance. We weren't getting a menu. We had one woman on YouTube today. She said she has 4 funds. So your biggest asset, you're restricted to 4 funds? Really? When we manage a 401k, we allow 50 funds. And we pick different asset classes. You can have no-load funds. You can have Vanguard. You can have Fidelity. You can have this. You can have that. And we pick the lowest institutional cost funds for a 401k. And we're fiduciaries, which means we act in the best interest of the consumer and disclose conflicts of interest. So if you have a question, now is the time to chime in at 800-321-0710. Next up, we have Doug with a Roth IRA. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, good morning. I was going off of Doug Sittel, Sittel, on Google, and there was a podcast, Young Girls Being Trafficked.
Okay. Very odd. So we want to know if he has penalties if he cashes before 65. Okay, next up, we're taking your calls on all matters financial at 800-321-0710. Live radio is funny. We got Cynthia, who's a dear client from Texas. Good to hear you, Cynthia. We got Mark. Now we have a nice conversation going out. Thank you, Josh. Okay, not used to it. On live Instagrams with Katie Couric, it is not like Facebook land, all those same owners. Now, yeah, I mean, these comments are sort of offensive, but you just got to go through it. You know, you got to toughen up. Apparently, isn't that funny, Ernesto? We have people going, this guy talks too much. It's my radio show.
That's the whole point of the show. It's talk.
You know, I think people tuned in because they really respected Lacey Hunt and they had no idea who I am. We have tons of listeners. And anyway, we love to hear from you on the YouTube chat box, or you get to ask me any financial question at 800-321-0710, 800-321-0710. We got tons of calls and questions coming in. We're talking about whatever you want to talk about. And next up, when calculating an RMD, if you have an IRA or a 403B or a TSP or what I call the alphabet soup of investing. Basically, if you have a number before it, it's a item of the tax code. And that means you are deferring taxes to pay taxes later. So when you're 72, you got to take out an RMD. Is my Roth balance added to my traditional IRA balance? No. I understand I don't have to withdraw from my Roth, just want to know how RMDs are calculated. When calculating your RMD, only the traditional IRA balance on December 31st of the previous year is included. Roths are a separate entity and has no bearing on RMDs. If you have multiple traditional IRAs, each IRA must calculate its own RMD, but the total RMD can be aggregated and taken from one or more of your traditional IRAs. So if you have 4 IRAs and one is underperforming, add up all the RMDs from the 4 and take it from your least profitable one. Maybe you have a bank account earning 0%, take it from there. That's from IRAhelp.com. Now, we had somebody who mentioned about the TSP. This is interesting. Was in my notes for the week. In the same year, you can convert all or a portion of the IRA dollars that were rolled over from the thrift savings plan. Neither the direct rollover from the TSP to the IRA nor the Roth conversion will count against the one rollover per year rule. So basically, you can do rollovers, conversions, etc. Now, next segment, there is a provision in round 2 of the Build Back Better Act, hasn't passed yet, which if passed will discourage the use of trusts to pass wealth down to future generations at the lowest estate tax cost. So if you're looking at doing trusts, now is the year you want to do it. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Okay, we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. We have Lewis. Go ahead, Lewis. You're on with Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to know if you know of any updates regarding the possibility of eliminating or reducing the amount that is available for transfer as a conversion from traditional IRAs into Roths starting 2022, in fact.
There is no limit on a conversion. You could convert 9 million. You can convert 9,000. You can convert 90,000. Whatever you want to do.
But I'm just talking about the possibility that they're considering limiting the amounts.
No, that's not in any considerations that I've ever read.
Okay, just a thought on that.
What they're talking about is they're limiting the amount. So if you have a $10 million Roth, there was talk about forcing people who have Roths above 10 million to do what's called a required minimum distribution. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I know about the limitations on the backdoor higher income. I just had seen an article, doesn't mean that it's true, about talk of limiting the amounts of conversion ability from IRAs to Roth.
I've not heard of any of that.
I just thought if perhaps you had some information regarding that. Can I make another point, Josh?
Yeah, it seems like it's not. That's not accurate, though.
I'm hoping that is in fact the case. The other point is, if they extend the RMD age from 72 to 75, wouldn't that put people who do wait till 75 into and beyond the sunsetting of the current rates into the higher brackets and taxation?
Oh, yes. Very much so, yes. That's maybe why they're doing it.
Yeah, but it's dangling something out there for people that may be inclined that they want to wait, and unbeknownst to them that January 1, 2026, these rates are going to be out the window and going to go up at least 3 or 4% and perhaps even more, Josh.
No, that could be a very real problem. Certainly. Definitely.
I thought I'd bring it up.
No, that's a great point. And keep it locked here. We're going to update a lot of these rules that were talked about as having occurred have not yet occurred. And some of you have breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, the estate tax isn't going up. But here's the thing. Do you still want your money protected from creditors, predators, in-laws, and outlaws? I'm revising my estate plan this year. I recommend all of you do so before the end of the year, because here's the thing. In the dead of night on December 28th, they could pass, or December 23rd, or whenever the last day Congress does their thing, they could always pass something, and they have a tendency to do it, and it always hurts the saver, the person who listens and watches this show, who minds their money, and it ends up screwing the little guy. So call us at 888-988-JOSH. Get a plan together. I'm revising my plans this year. I welcome you too as well. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. A lot of things are changing. Section 1202 is changing if you own a small business and the like. If you own a C Corp, S Corp, if you're doing estate planning. Because here's the thing. If you have some money, there's a giant target around on your back, because class warfare has never been so heated. And if you have a couple $1 million saved to much more than that, you're looked at as rich, even though you don't feel it. So great questions, Lewis. Next up, we have Monica. And folks, give us a call, 800-321-0710 if you have a financial question for me. And I have a special offer today. I will give you the Model for Financial Success worksheet. It's a booklet. At no charge, we will go through how you make financial decisions, how money is not math and math isn't money, how to protect yourself from a wide variety of eroding factors, inflation, taxes, law changes. Seems like everything is changing overnight. What do? Well, you get the 45-minute ultimate financial game plan. You score your top 5 investments from a standpoint of risk, taxation, and fees. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. Now, we have Michelle who says, are you going to answer my question above about the 20% company match? What does her question say? I couldn't find it. We can't find it. It just says, is it better to put my money in a 401k or in my IRA? My job offers a 401k with 4 types of funds. That's all the question says. Now, if your employer offers a match, take advantage of the match and then take the money above the match and put that into something else like a Roth or cash value insurance, and we could help you look at your very many options at 800-321-0710. And basically, we have another question. Instruct followers to leave a notebook as a map for descendants. That's good. How do you know your loved ones are protected? Like, how will they know where your accounts are? The stock certificate that's shoved in some shoebox. We will give you our very own Income for Life binder when you become a client. But we will give you the protection, savings, and growth review where you get to see all your assets on one page. You can give it to your loved ones and say, hey, if anything happens to me, here's this account. Here are these accounts. You get an inventory, a personal inventory of all your assets. Call us, 888-988-JOSH. Next up, we have Monica. Go ahead, Monica.
Good morning, Mr. J. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you, Monica. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
I know, and I'm glad my little one is doing very well. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, yes. I have a question. I have $10,000 sitting on my my IRA CD for like 15 years, making 0%. And I want to put it on my Roth brokerage, IRA brokerage account. And they're telling me I can only take $7,000 this year. And because of their contribution, whatever. So I just want to know what I can do. You are the expert, please.
So can you restate that question for a second?
Yes, I said I have $10,000 sitting on my IRA CD for like 15 years, making 0. And now I want to take that money and put it on my IRA Roth brokerage account.
Oh, that's very easy to do that. You would just have the institution. We could help you with that if you call us at 888-988-JOSH. We do a custodial transfer form or Roth conversion form. So first things first. So if your IRA is an IRA CD, and then we would set up an IRA at Fidelity for you, you then do a custodial transfer, then you do a conversion at Fidelity, and it's very easy. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So.
Oh, okay. I definitely will be doing it because I need so many things done this year. Yes, please. Definitely will be calling.
Wonderful. And wonderful that you're very encouraging. The baby is doing well. Thank you for asking. Baby Jedediah,
Amen.
He's beautiful. It's like nothing even happened to him. It's a real miracle. Thank you for your prayers. He's a beautiful little boy. And
Amen. I'm glad to hear that. I was so glad to hear when he was out of the hospital. And so God has answered our prayers, not just me. Everybody that prayed for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your prayers. It was very sweet.
You. Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay. And we'll be back. Now, we got another question. Is a 401k worth it, even with the match, if you can't touch the match for 10 years? Well, maybe not, but I think it's like free money. I would always take advantage of the match. I don't, that it depends on where your money is being held and what your purposes are. If you have a purpose for that money, like starting a business, I would not put the money in the 401k. But if your company is giving you 3% match or 10% match or 6% match, typically the matches are not that high anyway. So it's like a 3 to 6% match. I would definitely take advantage of it and then move the money above the match into something else. That makes a lot of sense. So give us a call, folks, 888-988-JOSH during the break. The match is only 20% of your contribution up to a certain amount. Well, if it's 20% of the first 6%, do 6% and take the money above the match, open up a different account. We can help you with that. The biggest problem, though, for you, I see, for funds in your 401k. So we got to see, are those 4 funds even good? So we're on YouTube right now. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and keep it posted right here. We got fastest, 15 minutes left in radio or YouTube. So watch. Do not touch that dial. Call us 888-988-JOSH for the free 45-minute financial review, year-end financial review We have a powerful new software where you will be able to get a spreadsheet of your entire income plan from 42 to 102. You get to see how long will your money last, what are the tax implications upon death, how to protect your money. Let's say you've accumulated a lot of money and you want to make sure it passes in the most tax efficient manner. Call us now, 888-988-JOSH, and we'll help you. 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular financial quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
We're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, taking your calls at 800-321-0710. We have the Build Back Better program, which I sometimes refer to as the Build Back Broke program. The proposed law imposes a 5% surtax on the income of trusts in excess of $200,000 and an 8% surtax on trust income in excess of $500,000. The income levels for individuals are $10 million and $25 million, respectively, for both single individuals and married filing couples, or 50 times higher than the proposed levels for trusts. So you got to call your congressmen and senators and say, do not vote for the 5% or 8% surtax. That's going to affect small business owners who leave their kids' trusts. It's a real shame. The proposal is consistent with the way trusts are already taxed for federal income tax, where 37% is the maximum trust income tax rate is reached at only $13,000. So if you're rich and you leave your kids' money in a trust, they are already screwed. They got to pay 37 cents of every dollar they inherit, plus 10% to the state or local municipalities often. So they're losing 47 cents on every dollar that they distribute out of the trust. So it's not like they're gaming the system. This will add an additional 5 to 10% for that. Mind you, there is no billionaire tax. There's no special tax on Zuckerberg or any of these people that they use to then lie. It's going after the family farm. It's going after the small business owner who succeeded. It's going after people who were once homeless, who had $60,000 in credit card debt, who built their business by the sweat of their brow with no handout from people. When I started my business, I got no money from the government. I got no handout. I'm livid. I'm ticked off. They always screw the little guy. Here's the thing. We have to elect politicians that will stand up against this nonsense. So we shall see. It's a real shame. Whereas for single individuals, the maximum income tax rate is not reached until $523,000. So if you're leaving money to a trust because you want to protect your hard-earned money, if you get an income above $13,000, you're taxed like you're a millionaire. 13 grand. It's crazy. The current highest tax rate is 523, which is 40 times higher than for trusts. So now why do you want to leave a trust? Maybe you want to protect your money from in-laws, outlaws, creditors, and predators. Maybe you're worried that your kids are going to squander the money. Maybe you have a special needs child and you want to set up an irrevocable trust for them. Maybe you have a kid who has an addiction problem. So many of these things are past. It's why we should have a flat tax. The whole thing's ridiculous. It's a real shame. It's really a travesty. Now, while annual trust income levels in the past may have seldom approached the above number, as a result of the Secure Act passed at the end of 2019, which made people less secure, which forces beneficiaries, including trusts, of IRAs and 401ks to withdraw the same over a maximum of 10 years, they may now easily do so if the account owner should desire to pay his or IRA 401k account balance to trust for his spouse, children, and or more remote descendants after his death in order to minimize estate taxes on the same. You need to be aware that the income tax penalty for doing so would appear to be prohibitive. For example, let's say you leave $3 million in an IRA and a trust for your son and succeeding generations. Assume also that the trustee of the trust withdraws the IRA in pro rata amounts over the 10-year period, 1/10, 1/9, etc. But assuming also that the IRA and its proceeds grow by 10% a year. Here's the thing. You're going to have a massive amount of tax. You're going to get this surtax. Now, let's say you have a trust and you're worried about this. You want to call us because you want to care for what the investments are within the trust. Meaning you can't have an index fund in the trust that kicks off a 2 or 3% dividend if it's a large estate, because that's going to trigger the income tax on the trust. The investments the trust holds must be tax efficient. It must be tax free or tax deferred or in a fund or ETF or stock that doesn't pay a dividend. I talk about this all the time. Do not pay taxes on money you're not spending. And that would go for a trust too, especially now more than ever, because if the trust throws off income like a dividend, bam, it's going to be crushed by this tax. Regardless of whether this is the intent of the law, these 40 to 50 times higher maximum income tax brackets for individuals versus trusts has and will have a chilling effect on paying IRA or 401k benefits to trusts and retaining the unused proceeds, and the same for estate tax and other protection purposes. Meaning, if this goes through, trusts will become less desirable for the dumb. For those who hire me, it won't be so dumb, because we will buy stocks that do not pay a dividend. We will buy insurance within the trusts, and you will buy funds that do not throw off that tax trigger. Does that make sense? It's all in who you hire to help you manage. So you don't just need a good attorney to construct the trust. You need a good investment advisor to help you construct what's in the trust, because it's not merely enough to write the trust. You have to fund it. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. I would love to meet with you. Shake your hand over. Call. Well, we won't shake hands. We'll do the elbow bump. Give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH for the free review. And we have room for one more call. We're going to talk to Paul and Jim when we return. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Hey,
only
meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Okay, we're back. Going to the phone lines. We have Paul. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Josh. I do have a question. I know that Congress changed the last, when Trump was president, he raised the minimum distribution for IRAs to 72. Is Congress thinking of raising it again to 75 or age 76?
There has been talk about that, but there has been no official ruling yet. There's been talk about raising the RMD from 72 to 75. If you're 72 now, it'll be 73. It's a tiered structure. Probably will pass because it seems to be a popular bill, but it hasn't passed yet, and we will keep you posted. Keep it locked right here. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and if you miss an episode, go to the iHeartRadio app and Spotify app and subscribe on Apple iTunes. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, I'm going to be 72 in January. When am I required to take minimum distribution?
Well, by December 31st of next year.
Okay. Now, is it possible that Congress might change it so it'll become 73 or 74?
It may. So I would wait until the last possible time to do it. So you can call us and we can plan out the timing of your RMDs. Give us a call at 888-988-JOSH. Would love to help you through that. Any other questions?
Nope. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
And folks, final question. We have Jim. Go ahead.
Yes, I was wondering, what is the effect of withdrawals or conversions from IRAs? How do they impact things like Social Security and Medicare?
Brilliant question. And a lot of times people don't realize that they can save taxes on Social Security. Did you know if you make over a certain amount of money, your Social Security check is taxed 85%? There was a promise FDR made that they would never tax Social Security. And Ronald Reagan first broke that promise, and then Bill Clinton broke it even further, raising the amount of the check to 85%. I believe Reagan, it was 50% of the check was taxable if you make over a certain amount. If you take money out of a Roth IRA, cash value life insurance, or non-taxable account, that money may not hurt you from Social Security taxes. So you can plan your life so you don't pay any Social Security taxes. A lot of people don't realize that. Even if you have significant funds. How? By repositioning your IRAs before you turn Social Security age from taxable accounts to tax-free accounts. That's one positive benefit. So Social Security tax planning, we've done a whole show on it in the past. Maybe I bring that up on a future show. But there are ways to mitigate the tax. And the big tip there is kind of like my tip before. Do not pay taxes on money you're not spending. Because if you have dividends, interest, capital gains, even interest on municipal bonds, that could hurt you from a standpoint of Social Security taxation. We can help you. But if you have an IRA and you withdraw money from your IRA, that will trigger higher Social Security taxes, higher Medicare taxes. So that's one of the benefits of having a Roth IRA as well. Any other questions on that?
What do you feel? Is it better to take the hit earlier or wait regarding how they're going to tax the Social Security, for example?
It depends on how much is in your IRA, and you may want to consider what's called bracket filling. You may also want to consider creating an income bridge. So you might delay Social Security till 70, drain your IRAs, let's say 1/10 each year, 1/8 each year until it drains to a Roth. You might do incremental conversions. You might take some money out of your IRAs, buy life insurance, which is not that is also exempt for the purpose of Social Security taxation. So there's a lot you could do, but the best thing is to get a plan. Call us, 888-988-JOSH. There is no substitute for an individual Zoom call. We will give you a free Zoom call, free call, or free meeting in person, live and in the flesh. Call us now, 888-988-JOSH.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelensky Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-Star Wealth Manager, Advisory of the Year finalist by Senior Market Advisor, and Top of the $1 Million Roundtable, are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Josh Jelensky or Wealth Quarterback LLC. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Wealth Quarterback website at www.jelensky.org. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions in securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions, the information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, Josh Jelensky and Wealth Quarterback do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate